I finally made a name for myself in the city with my boyfriend of 7 years. Turns out my boyfriend cheated and wanted me to be a housewife. Marcus smiled coldly. Since you can't learn to be gentle and charming, I'll find other women. After all, a successful man doesn't just have one woman. Later, I slapped him, broke up with him decisively, and found a second spring to my love life. But he, with red eyes, squatted outside my door. Gracie, I'm a masochist. The moment you hit me, I get excited. On a perfectly ordinary day, I was at a bar discussing business with my friend, but I never expected to run into my boyfriend Marcus shooting an adult film. A sexy woman in a miniskirt boldly straddled him. Marcus gripped her back, lifting his head to kiss her. For the past 7 years, whenever I didn't want to be intimate with Marcus, he would chase my lips just like that, following my gaze. The surrounding crowd fell silent. Everyone in our circle knew that Marcus and I had been together for 7 years, and I had been waiting for him to propose to me. Those slender, pale hands I had touched countless times were now reaching inside another woman's clothes. Marcus tilted his head for a kiss, and the woman, panting, pushed against his chest, her face showing feigned vulnerability. If finds out, she won't let me off the hook. Marcus took her finger into his mouth, mumbling, a woman doing business. Who still considers her a woman? She has no femininity at all. The woman circled her finger on Marcus's chest. Looks like Grace isn't so powerful after all. At least when it comes to Mr. Marcus. She lost to me. Ha ha ha. Baby, you're much more charming than her. The sound of them exchanging saliva echoed through the booth. A moment later, beer bubbles burst from the bottle like fire, and the couple in the booth seemed ignited. Only wild joy, passionate kisses, and abandon remained. I coldly watched them, my fingertips digging into my palm, yet I felt no pain. I still remember the year we started our careers, our 3rd year of dating. I immersed myself in the company and quickly secured my position. Back then, his eyes, sparkling with admiration and reverence, were fixed on me. Hardworking is so beautiful, so radiant. Sigh. Another day of being supported by my girl. Later, to give me a better life and stand proudly by my side, he resigned without hesitation to start his own business, even drinking until he got a stomach ulcer. I cried, telling him to stop, but he stroked my long hair, repeating over and over, Gracie, as long as I have you, I can swallow any hardship. Gracie, I need you to always be by my side. Two people without connections have no home in a strange, bustling city. We worked tirelessly, stealing moments to love each other, moving from a dilapidated shack to a high-rise. Now, both of us successful in our careers, we were just one step away from marriage. 7 years. We were just one step away. Me, shining brightly in my career, in Marcus's eyes, was apparently unfeminine. I didn't understand. I stood up and walked towards them. They were passionately kissing, oblivious to anyone around, until I stood before them. One of them awkwardly called out sister-in-law before they finally pulled apart. Breathing heavily, the woman saw me, timidly got out of Marcus's embrace, and stepped aside. Marcus tugged at his loose collar, a sneer on his face as he looked at me, a hint of provocation in his eyes. Saw that? That provocative smile ignited a fiery heat throughout my body. I couldn't tell if the burning was heartbreak or anger, and I instinctively put up my guard. Marcus, you really live up to being a top salesperson, even selling your body now. Marcus's face changed in an instant, his voice and expression turning equally dark. Grace, would you die if you didn't defy me? His eyes, filled with undisguised disgust, looked at me as he lifted his chin. Manager, I'm your boyfriend, not your subordinate. You'll never learn to be as gentle and charming as other women. He was right. I truly couldn't softly cater to others. The workplace is cutthroat, and after reaching the general position, I had long forgotten what gentleness was. My chest burned, and I clenched my fists, remaining silent. It's fine. Since you can't learn to be gentle, I can find other women. After all, if a successful man only ever tastes one woman in his life. Marcus raised his eyes, looking at me with a hint of amusement. Do you think that's possible? And Marcus smiled thinly, his eyes scanning me up and down as if appraising an old, tiresome object in his home. 7 years. I'm tired of sleeping with you too. He casually lit a cigarette, his voice indifferent. Now that I've switched models, the taste isn't bad. With a whoosh, the scalding heat in my chest seemed to suddenly cool down. I quietly said, come closer. I want to tell you something. Marcus unsuspectingly leaned his face closer. The face that once drowned me in tenderness was now full of disdain and contempt. I had gazed at this face with all my heart for 7 whole years. A surging wave of heat suddenly rose from the cooled ashes within me. I suppressed it, until I could no longer hold it back. Smack. I put all my strength into it and slapped him hard. My palm stung slightly, and my arm felt numb. The entire place fell silent. No one expected me to suddenly hit him. After all, I usually used to be heartbroken even when Marcus took a sip of alcohol. Marcus was stunned too. His head was turned by the slap, and his wide eyes were filled with disbelief. I indifferently scanned the room. Everyone flinched in fear, pointing at Marcus, who was still dazed and clutching his face. I said coldly, "You ungrateful bastard. If I hadn't fed you so many resources, would you be where you are today? I'm unfeminine? Ha! You have a scent about you. An old man smell." I lifted my chin in disdain. Only incapable men feel like they can't handle women. So, they want to conquer some weak women to assert themselves. Then they fantasize about women competing for their affection. See, even if your career is successful, you can't even keep one man's heart. So how successful are you really? Marcus looked utterly shattered, staring blankly at this completely new woman before him. Finally, I raised an eyebrow, returning his provocative smile. "Marcus, I'm talking about you." With that, I turned and left, leaving a room full of dumbfounded people. I don't know what happened next, because I was already at a new bar, drowning my sorrows. The moment the bottle was opened, I couldn't hold back my tears. I cried hysterically, clutching the bottle, having no time to drink. 7 years. A full 7 years of love and time, ending in such a tragic and unbearable way. To say I wasn't sad would be a lie. Stupid. I'm so stupid. Getting involved in a relationship with a man. I hiccuped a sob, crying to my friend. I'm a rich woman. I could have talked money with anyone. But no, I had to talk feelings. Boo-hoo-hoo. Okay. Gracie, don't cry. My friend looked at me with heartbreak. There are so many handsome guys here. Why don't you pick one for a money-only arrangement? Okay. I immediately pointed to a silver-haired handsome man carrying a tray. I want him. No exaggeration. He was the most beautiful person I had ever seen. The owner of those deep purple, gorgeous eyes widened his slightly upturned phoenix eyes, which held a profound emotion I couldn't decipher. Under the neon lights, his silver hair made Silas even more captivating. He looked like an innocent, pure elf, glancing left and right, finally timidly pointing to himself. Is that me you're calling? Betrayed by my boyfriend of 7 years and having already achieved financial freedom, I had an epiphany. Work was already annoying, and then a relationship meant being cheated on. Why should I put myself through this stress? Instead of demeaning myself to please others, I should please myself. I'm almost 30. If I don't enjoy myself now, will my friends be burning paper cutouts of handsome men and mini cakes for me in the afterlife? Thinking this way, my heart suddenly brightened. The silver-haired man I called obediently squatted down. I could feel his scorching gaze moving across my face. I pretended to be aloof and glamorous, acting as if I were more experienced than those old men. Coolly, I hooked his chin. Name: Silas. A familiar name, but I was too lazy to recall. $300,000 a month. To keep you. Is that enough? Silas's mouth twitched, and the next second he looked ecstatic. Enough. More than enough. Me. Why do I feel like he's faking it? But I didn't think much of it, only finding it amusing. Marcus had cheated with many women, and almost every single one of them gleefully put me down behind my back. But why should one compete for male validation to prove their worth through men? Silas stared at me, his lips pressed together in silence. His silver hair under the neon lights truly made him look like an innocent, fallen youth. Alcohol swelled and fermented in my brain. I wasn't moving, but Silas seemed to be spinning, making me dizzy. I grabbed his broad shoulders, lifted my face, and woozily leaned in for a kiss. Silas didn't have the vulgar air of someone serving customers. His whole demeanor didn't suit a bar attendant. If it were the usual sharp and cautious Grace, she would have noticed immediately. But tonight I was drunk, having been tense for many years, exhausted from overtime, and I didn't even like coffee. I just wanted a good night's sleep. Nothing more. So handsome. Someone whispered behind him, but Marcus heard nothing. His deep pupils glowed faintly. He lightly touched his slapped left cheek. He twiddled his fingers and laughed foolishly. Everyone around, Marcus thought, I'm truly messed up. Grace slapped him hard, and he actually felt excited. When that slap landed on his face, he felt an electric current surge through his body, and his blood inexplicably coursed. That tingling, uncontrollable sensation, as if a pet he hadn't cared for had broken free from his grasp at the last moment. The prey not only escaped but also delivered a fierce scratch. Did he have some kind of fetish? He stared at his fingers, puzzled. Marcus walked up to a girl. Slap me. The girl looked terrified. Huh? He frowned. Quick. Slap my right cheek. The girl was already on Grace's side, and that slap held nothing back. Marcus touched his burning right cheek again. No. There was no such electric current surging through his body. Marcus then tenderly stroked the left cheek Grace had slapped, and chuckled softly. He knew what was going on now. Knew why he had cheated. Because had been too good to him. So good that he no longer felt it. Had forgotten the thrill of being conquered by her in the beginning. But that slap brought back that decisive, assertive feeling he craved from her. Marcus sighed lightly. Turns out I'm just a dog. Grace was the chain that could bind him. What did Grace just say? Break up? Undefinable emotions swirled in the depths of Marcus's dark eyes. He murmured to himself, no, that won't do. Grace is mine. Everyone, crazy. Silas and I spent the whole night together. But nothing happened between us. Because I ranted drunkenly all night, clinging to him, and ended up throwing up all over him. The next morning, Silas, sporting huge panda eyes, looked at me with a resentful expression, unable to withstand such strong condemnation. I sheepishly said I was going to buy breakfast. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Marcus squatting outside my door, holding a large bouquet of red roses. He darted in front of me with a whoosh. The strong scent of roses made me recoil, and Marcus's eyes were sparkling. Gracie, come home with me. Let's get married. Haven't you always wanted to get married? Marcus blushed, lowering his head shyly. When you hit me yesterday, I actually felt a different kind of pleasure. Once we're home, you can slap me, hit me, kick me, I'll be willing. Ignoring my horrified expression, he eagerly grabbed my hand and promised, as long as you come home with me. Cheating 1 second, repenting the next. What a lunatic. Getting a slap even made him feel good. I said expressionlessly, there's an orderly at the hospital with strong hands. I've put in a good word for you. Marcus choked, then quickly stepped forward, his eyes full of tenderness. Gracie, I truly shouldn't have cheated. But look, how many men can truly remain faithful? I promise you, I'll marry you right away and never touch another woman again. I stared at him, wide-eyed and shocked. Whose ancient chauvinist got loose? He's truly thinking he's still lord of the manor. Let go! I'm closing the door. I was so scared I didn't even dare to buy breakfast. I rushed to close the door, and the two of us were at a standstill. Sister, where's my breakfast? A clear, lingering voice interjected. Silas, who had walked over, pulled me behind him, completely blocking Marcus. His purple eyes shimmered, and he arrogantly raised an eyebrow at Marcus. Ex-boyfriend? Marcus's face darkened. Grace. Who is he? Silas's tall frame blocking me felt very secure. I declared confidently, of course. He's my boyfriend. Silas's body stiffened. He glanced back at me, his eyes lighting up with immense surprise, as if saying, I've finally been made official. He gave me a shy smile, and his finger secretly brushed against my palm. Me? I just said it randomly. What kind of lovesick fool is this? Marcus's face had already fallen. His venomous, cold gaze darted between us, finally settling on Silas's face. Ha! I knew you looked familiar. So it's you, Silas. What? Is a bar attendant's reputation really that big? Marcus brushed off non-existent dust from his sleeve, chuckling lightly. Silas, I slept with her for 7 years. Don't you find her dirty? My blood ran cold. I hadn't even reacted yet. Silas, furious, swung his fist and punched Marcus's face quickly and viciously. Bang! Marcus was hit so hard he almost tumbled down the stairs, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. I could no longer suppress the anger within me, and I stepped forward again, slapping him hard. You dog who only knows slut-shaming. Tears streamed uncontrollably from my eyes, and I trembled with rage. All the grievances and helplessness surged through me at once. I bit my lip hard to keep from crying out. Silas immediately lowered his fist, and I fell into a warm, broad embrace. His large, strong hand stroked my trembling back repeatedly, and Silas's voice was deep and gentle. He comforted me over and over, and gradually I stopped trembling. It's okay. It's not Gracie's fault. With me here, no one can hurt you again. Marcus stood a few steps away, watching quietly, his eyes filled with regret and helplessness that I couldn't fathom. He suddenly spoke. Grace, I said the wrong thing. Come back. Once you're home, I'll let you hit me, scold me, whatever you want. You can do anything you want to me, as long as you come back. Gradually calming the emotions in my chest. I already knew clearly that Marcus and I were over. If I accidentally ate a mouthful of shit, should I eat it again to verify if it really was shit? Marcus, we're over. Wiping away my tears, my tone was resolute. Marcus stared at me expressionlessly. I faced him without fear. His gaze gradually turned cold and fierce. He said softly, Gracie, if you don't take the path I've laid out for you, then don't blame me for going my own way. Marcus's POV. Marcus pushed open the door, subconsciously curving his lips into a smile. But the room was pitch black. No one was waiting for him. He stopped smiling. He remembered. His Gracie didn't want him anymore, just because he cheated. Marcus silently walked into the darkness, ransacking drawers and cabinets for a first aid kit. The corner of his mouth stung fiercely. He couldn't find it, because Gracie used to take care of everything at home. Marcus suddenly realized he really seemed to have made a mistake. He touched the slap mark Gracie had left. He suddenly understood. He wasn't a masochist at all. He was clearly happy that Gracie's attention was finally back on him. He didn't like Gracie always focusing on contracts and proposals. He disliked even more that Gracie always had to interact with other people, men or women. He didn't like it. They were already rich now, had plenty of money, and didn't need to go back to the basement apartment. His just needed to stay nicely at home, in their clean and bright house, and wait for him to come back, but righteously refused, and put more attention on those unimportant people. So, he acted like a child, over and over, doing outrageous things, hoping to once again receive the full attention and affection of the person he loved. Ultimately, he got it, and he lost it forever. Marcus remembered those tear-filled eyes. It seemed to be the first time she had cried in front of him. He lay on the empty bed, stroking the coldness of the other pillow. In the darkness, his strong, broad back slowly slumped. After left that day, I returned to my normal life. The only difference was, Marcus was no longer by my side, and Silas was. He wasn't an attendant at all, but an artist and designer. I don't like cooking, but he loves to cook. He even created a special app just for me, where I could order my 3 meals. Within a few days, I had genuinely gained several pounds. What are you looking at? Silas smiled as he moved closer, his warm breath fanning my face. My neck flushed red, and I turned my face away, secretly cursing myself. What kind of handsome man hadn't I seen? Yet I was blushing so furiously from being flirted with. I confessed, your eyes are beautiful. He pulled back slightly, the light in his clear, deep purple eyes dimming. Really? But ever since I was little, I've been called an anomaly, Silas said calmly. Kids were scared of my eyes. No one played with me when I was little. My dad didn't like my eyes either, because they were too flamboyant. No one liked me, and no one liked my eyes. After speaking, Silas lowered his head. Sunlight shone on his silver hair. His back was slightly bent, and though bathed in light, he appeared fragile, as if he might disappear into thin air any second. My heart ached with urgency. Prejudice is the most terrifying thing. I knew this feeling well and detested it to my core. I really like them. The corners of his downturned lips couldn't help but turn upwards, and I caught that fleeting smile, without overthinking. At that instant, I lifted my head and kissed the corner of his mouth, capturing that smile that had touched me. A sleepless night. Outside, it was already bright, and the lukewarm sunlight spilled onto the bed. I indignantly hammered the bed frame, but the soft force clearly held no intimidation. Bastard! My overly hoarse voice also lacked power, sounding more like a whine. Silas chuckled muffledly against my neck, sticking out his tongue to bite and lick. Then how about I really play the part of a bastard? Saying this, he moved over me. I quickly blocked him. No way, we were doing that in broad daylight, just as we were fooling around. Ring, 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 ring. Hello? Eleanor. Gracie, how could you break up with Marcus? You're 30. If you break up with him, who will marry you now? You're so old and still so clueless. What man doesn't fool around? Come back quickly. Marcus is already here with gifts to propose. You two should go get your marriage license this afternoon. I slowly sat up, my chest filled with a lump of ice, my whole body growing cold. I took a few deep breaths and slowly spoke. Eleanor, why are you always like this? Her tone on the other end of the phone was aggressive. What about me? Aren't I doing this for your own good? No matter how successful your career is, you'll have to get married and have children eventually. Marcus is already your best choice. My bowing and scraping to others. Wasn't it all for you? I could no longer suppress the anger within me and yelled, he cheated. Why should I sacrifice myself? I'll do whatever I want. My life isn't for you to dictate. Forcing back tears, I said, Eleanor, I can't explain it to you. You never asked me what I wanted. Your so-called for my own good suffocates me. Anyway, I will absolutely not marry that scum. If you're so satisfied with him, then you marry him yourself. I hung up the phone, my emotions long unable to settle. Silas hugged me from behind, his jaw rubbing against my neck. Gracie, let's get married. My heart became incredibly calm, and I gently broke free from his embrace. Is it because of the 300,000? Silas froze. What? He seemed desperate. Gracie, I shook my head, raising a hand to stop him. I felt very sad, but even more, there was an unknown fear. I knew very clearly that, in a short time, I couldn't wholeheartedly throw myself into a new relationship again. This wouldn't be fair to Silas. And at the same time, I was scared. Scared to see those beautiful eyes go from passionate to indifferent, then impatient, and finally cold, disgusted, and uttering harsh words. So, I retreated. Silas, I don't want to be in a relationship right now. I'm sorry. Sigh. 11 at night. This was my 8th sigh. Because of Silas. He left that day with red eyes. His enchanting purple eyes were full of tears, like fragile amethysts. With a trembling voice, he left a single sentence, I like you not for money, then quietly walked away. The clock hands pointed precisely to 12. More than half of my work was still left, but my heart was too turbulent. I admitted, I had fallen for him. I wanted to see that figure in the bear-themed apron again, and I missed that incredibly secure embrace. Never mind. I'll go find him once I finish this busy period. A crush is a crush. I didn't want to lie to myself anymore. All this hard work, wasn't it just to give myself the courage to start over? It's not like I can't afford to lose. I looked out at the warm yellow streetlights outside the window, wondering, where is Silas now? The streetlights illuminated the midnight street, and Silas too seemed to be draped in a warm yellow veil. He had never left, sitting in his car, quietly watching the balcony from which light shone. Inside that balcony was the girl he had liked for a very long time, but that girl didn't accept him. She rejected him. Silas had seen Grace many times. She calmly negotiated with clients after wiping away tears in the break room. She didn't argue or fuss but calmly analyzed when falsely accused by colleagues. She spoke for herself with achievements, neither humble nor arrogant, when suppressed in the workplace due to her gender. He had also seen her feed a hard-won cake to a stray puppy, silently help an old woman push her cart, and rush out late at night to buy stomach medicine for her boyfriend. Love bloomed without warning, growing deep and true. Actually, when the elevator door didn't open, Silas had already wanted to leave. He understood her, just as he supported women in having their own dreams and passions. Gracie had just ended a relationship. It was perfectly normal for her not to want to start a new one so soon. He had been too eager and scared her off, but he wouldn't back down, nor would he give up. He was willing to walk 99 steps forward, then patiently wait for her to gain confidence in a new relationship, to be satisfied with him, and then walk towards him. If he wanted Gracie to be even more satisfied with him, it seemed she was quite satisfied with his body, but he still needed to continue working out. After all, he wanted Gracie to be most satisfied, didn't he? And regarding his assets, he couldn't let Gracie suffer any injustice. So, he picked up his phone and quickly calculated how much dowry he had. Just like that, under the dim streetlights, Silas managed to comfort himself. Marcus looked at the blocked chat page, his eyes growing dead. His really didn't want him anymore. Gracie didn't want his proposal, nor did she want him. How could this be? Hadn't she been talking about wanting to get married for a long time? Marcus thought to himself. He shouldn't have been angry with Gracie. He should have married her sooner. Once married, wouldn't Gracie stop running around outside? Once married, wouldn't Gracie only have eyes for him? That way, none of this would have happened. Things wouldn't have escalated to this point. He was truly foolish. What else did Gracie care about? Oh, the company. Gracie cared a lot about her career. Marcus raised a hand to cover his eyes, concealing the insatiable madness, and grinned. If he ruined Gracie's career, would Gracie come back? Would her eyes only be on him then? Marcus actually resorted to such despicable and shameless tricks in a business war. If I had known, I would have sent him to get slapped by an orderly back then. When I furiously found Marcus, he was sprawled on the floor, drinking alcohol shot after shot. He was completely dejected, unshaven, and his buttons were even mismatched. The moment he saw me, he seemed to flicker back to life, his eyes bursting with immense surprise. Gracie, you forgave me? I looked at him coldly, just as he had once looked at me. Marcus, I'm here to tell you, it's never going to work between us. I advise you to stop with those despicable and dirty tricks. The light in Marcus's eyes completely extinguished. He stared at me with a heavy gaze. Gracie, if you just come back, I'll immediately announce to everyone that it was all my plot, clearing your name. His voice was very, very soft, as if afraid of shattering the dream he held in his mouth. Let's get married. I'm willing to give you all my shares. I shook my head. Marcus, belated affection is cheaper than dirt. I don't need it anymore. Besides, I already have someone I like. Marcus's expression fractured, his body trembled violently, and his eyes turned fierce. Who? Silas? He let out a derisive laugh, staring at me eerily, his voice laced with sarcasm. You probably don't know, do you? He's no poor boy. He's your mentor's son. Guess why he approached you? Of course, he wants you to give up your power. Marcus approached me with a gentle tone. Darling, don't let someone fool you just because you left me. He's no good either. He casually tossed out a photo. In the photo, Silas and a young girl were outside a gynecology clinic. Marcus said in a sarcastic tone, if you go there now, the abortion might not even be over yet. When TV dramas reached such a plot point, girls usually left alone, heartbroken and dispirited. But not me, because I have a mouth. I'm going to ask for clarification. I personally saw Marcus flirting with other girls. His cheating was a fact, but that photo only showed that Silas went to a gynecology clinic with a girl. When I threw the photo in front of Silas, he was still grinning foolishly. Gracie, you came to find me. I'm so happy. This man, nearly 6 feet 3 inches tall, wagged his tail like a puppy, circling around me, looking so goofy. Gracie, you actively came to find me. Does that mean you like me too? I awkwardly glanced at the people secretly gossiping around us, broke free from his embrace, and cleared my throat. I'm asking you, who is the girl in the photo? Silas froze, then pulled me to an empty stairwell. Then, with a serious expression, he dropped a bombshell on me. Gracie, that's my cousin. She's pregnant, and the baby is Marcus's. Silas's face showed apology. I'm sorry. We didn't raise her well. She knows she made a mistake. We'll have her apologize to you. I blinked, still trying to process it. What? I almost ended up getting involved in baby mama drama? She couldn't reach Marcus, so she came to me. At first, I didn't want to get involved. Silas's hand stroked my face, but she said if I didn't come, she'd have to go to you. So I agreed. I'm sorry. I should have told you beforehand, but you didn't want to talk to me then, so I didn't dare to approach you. I hummed in acknowledgement, a strange, undefinable feeling in my heart, but it was definitely not sadness, nor pity. Everyone just walks their own path. I sighed slightly, then changed the subject. You're my mentor's son. Why didn't you tell me? I crossed my arms, looking at him sideways. Are you a honey trap sent by my mentor? Trying to seduce me to take back company power from my hands? Silas was stunned, not expecting me to pull something like this. He hugged me, buried his face in my shoulder, laughing nonstop until his face turned red. I was furious. He was still laughing in such a serious situation. Sure enough, men still understand men. He's no good either. Just as I was about to speak, he leaned in and covered my lips with his. Silas bit my lip, gently nibbling. Gracie, didn't my dad tell you? I'm marrying you. My dad wants me to marry into your family. He smiled, his eyes sparkling like a sky full of stars, and I can't manage a company at all. I'm truly just a designer. All I can do is draw. Gracie, I like you. For a very, very long time. Marcus's POV when that alluring woman touched his shoulder. He felt a wave of disgust. Asterisk what is this thing? Daring to compare herself to his Gracie? Asterisk get lost. His tone was icy. The woman didn't retreat. Instead, she moved closer. Her eyes seductive and alluring. Mr. Marcus doesn't seem to have a girlfriend. Does he? Marcus took out his phone to call Grace. He was drunk, but he had my girl. He wanted my girl to come pick him up and take him home. The call was disconnected. There was only a voice message on WhatsApp. Marcus opened it expressionlessly. Marcus, I'm heading to a meeting. Talk on WhatsApp if anything comes up. Don't drink too much. Watch out for stomach pain. The voice was lively, but that liveliness wasn't directed at him. Marcus violently smashed his phone. When the woman approached him again, he didn't push her away. His petty tricks couldn't bring Gracie back to him. She wasn't someone who could be easily defeated. When he next saw Grace, he was fighting Silas. He had trained in boxing, but he hadn't expected Silas to hold his own so well. When he saw Grace running over, the wind lifted her skirt in the sunlight. For a moment, he stared blankly, and was severely punched. The two of them stopped fighting with unspoken understanding. Marcus's POV. Grace indignantly pointed at Silas. Are you an idiot? Fighting in the street? If you're going to fight, at least do it somewhere without cameras. Liar. I saw it clearly. The look she gave Silas was undeniably heartbroken, but she didn't spare me a single glance. I knew I was setting myself up for humiliation, but I couldn't stop myself from speaking. Gracie, my stomach hurts. She turned to look at me. The next second, Silas blocked her view with his hand. Gracie, my eye hurts. Quick, check if your amethyst is damaged. She immediately spun her head around, frantically demanding to go to the hospital for a checkup. I scoffed, touching my throbbing ribs. That jerk, always hitting where it won't show. But my stomach really does hurt. Can you please look at me one more time? Gracie didn't turn back. Hand in hand, they walked away. I quickly turned around too. Before I was afraid I'd burst into tears right then and there. Silas's perspective at the hung-up phone. Silas sighed silently and searched online. My girl is too busy and neglecting me. What should I do? This wasn't the first time Gracie had stood him up. It was either a sudden realization she had to work late, or a project had hit a snag. Gracie led a rich life, and he clearly knew that he was only a part of it. Silas, do you know? He didn't know, so he pricked up his ears. 2 years after graduation, Eleanor told me that girls my age were already settling down. They were either securing government jobs or preparing to get married. They were settled, in any case, and I was incredibly anxious back then. Eleanor also pressured me into blind dates and government job exams. She said I had to choose one, blind dates or government job exams. Undeniably, it was a very secure path. I almost gave in, thinking, maybe this is it. This is how I'll spend my life. With everything mapped out. Silas held her tight, listening quietly. Grace hugged him back. But I wasn't content. I wasn't willing for my whole life to be confined to just these two choices. That's why I've always worked incredibly hard, constantly negotiating deals. It was all to tell myself, and to tell Eleanor. See? I have more than just two possibilities. I have countless possibilities. The girl in his arms murmured with her eyes closed, slowly drifting off to sleep. Silas gazed deeply at her delicate, almost alabaster profile, then tenderly and heartbrokenly kissed her. She had come this far alone, enduring who knew how much hardship. The next morning, Silas moved into Grace's office with his design tablet. He was a freelancer anyway. Where he drew didn't really matter, did it? If there's a problem, you solve it. Of course, love required mutual understanding. Seeing him proactively address the issue, Gracie said cheerfully, I've wanted you to come for ages. I just hadn't found the time to say it. She gave him a big kiss. I've missed you a lot too. That kiss energized Silas, making him sketch several times faster. Stroke by stroke, he drew the young woman typing nearby. Sunlight streamed through the glass, enveloping them both. He thought, tonight when they got home, he'd have to tell Gracie. The immense fortune he had painstakingly accumulated, enough to acquire 10 companies like this, was all for her. He hoped she could finally relax a little, no longer needing to be so tense, putting so much pressure on herself. He would take care of everything. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comments section.